Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for everybody. They're for your sun, moon or ascendant sign, whether you're an Aries, sun, moon or rising, this is for you. Remember, they're general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. That is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for your key to the week, just a little quick note to say, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. Your key to the week this week is the Hierophant card. So, are there spaces and places in your life where you either have to play the professional game or where you kind of need to acknowledge that there is a power or an authority that is kind of bigger than you or in the way at this moment in time? The reason I say this is because the Hierophant card can very often show up as like big corporations, larger companies. It very often actually shows up for government and places and spaces such as. So the message here really does suggest that in all of the areas of life that we're about to look at for you, there might be something that's going on that, in one hand, it might be that there are things going on that are sort of red tape stuff, things that you can't get around, you just have to toe the line or play the game. In another way that this could show up for you, it does suggest that maybe your faith this week is the thing that's being put on not on blast, but maybe your faith is being tested in some manner. Now, when it comes to your actions and options in terms of the things that you're doing and the things that are available to you, the Empress does suggest that you're looking for an easier way to do something, or you're looking for potentially an easy way out. I gotta be honest with you, because you have the Hierophant card here, there may not be an easy way out, but there might be a way out that is absolutely worth the hard work that it's potentially going to take. When it comes to the options that are available to you, this is a card of abundance, right? And with the Hierophant card, this does suggest that a lot of the opportunities that show up for you this week are potentially not just lucrative, but there potentially is more options available to you than you realise. I will say as well, for a select few of you, there's a possibility that you're spending time in a place that is very beautiful, or a place that you deem to be beautiful, but it will be like in a very structured kind of way. It's kind of like, old cathedrals. Those are very beautiful. For some of you, you might be visiting a sacred site this week. Now, when it comes to your communications and conversations, you've got the Five of Wands. This is not an easy card, and you do have the Hierophant here, which does suggest some kind of professional bust up, or maybe some kind of conversation that potentially leaves a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I would say this week, be aware of how different your views are to those of the establishment that you are studying with or under. I will also say as well, if you're having any run-ins this week, it's potentially with a woman within your circle or your sphere. Now, for those of you that are employed by somebody else, this week I would be very mindful of the Ossif gossip. Be very mindful of the office gossip, and like the water cooler talk and all of that stuff. Just be very mindful, and I would say be conscious of the information that you get this week and how you pass it on. My advice to you, especially because now we're in between eclipses proper, I would say don't get involved. If someone asks you to pass a message, etc., just don't do it, all right? Unless you absolutely have to. And even then, double check the meaning behind what somebody is delivering, because the chances are there's going to be a lot of chances this week for crossed wires. And if this happens in terms of, what's the word that I'm looking for? In a professional sense, excuse me, it potentially has a lot longer sort of lasting consequences than maybe you'd like. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, I think this week you're going to realise, and if I say this, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, doom and gloom, rah, rah, rah. But there's no other way to say it. There's potentially here, you're going to realise that there's, I don't want to say a snake in the grass, but I do think this week you are coming into the realisation that someone who has presented themselves one way is maybe not as upstanding as they say they are. You're going to see this in action. It won't necessarily be that, someone comes to you and says, oh, this person's stabbing you in the back or whatever. It will be something that you witness directly with your own eyes and ears that kind of has you go, yeah, you know what, I want to step back from this person. Finally, for those of you that are retired and no longer working for any reason, this one way that this potentially shows up, some of you might decide that you want to go back to school, but others of you are probably going to start looking, or may actually be in the midst of a situation with a larger group, body or organisation. So this could be local authority, a local council, organisation of some sort, and there's something that you might potentially in your environment or area within your street or your county, etc. There might be something that you're actively trying to fight here. So it'd be interesting to see how that shows up. Now, you've got the Seven of Swords in the love and relations. For those of you that are single, especially if you're talking to somebody at the moment, and if this person is, maybe not maybe this person is a little bit well-to-do, or they present to you in a way where you think like, oh, they're really kind of, what you see is what you get. That Seven of Swords with the Five of Wands, this person has other options or other interested parties. That is as much as I will say. They've got the chat, they're very suave, they're very good looking, they've got all of the, all of the bravado, they've got all the show, they've got all the talk, they've got all of it going on. And it's not, well, look, it's the Seven of Swords, there's no other way to paint it, but because the Five of Wands shows up right next to it, I would say there's a possibility here, if you're single and or talking to somebody, or you're in a new relationship, there are other interested parties in this person, and this person isn't doing anything to dissuade them. All right, so if you're thinking you're the only person that's got this person's attention, etc., that is not the case. Just be mindful. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this Seven of Swords, for those of you that are partnered, this tells me that there's something that you don't want to say to your partner. And I feel like this might be something about a friend, maybe something that a group of friends or you and a group of friends are planning to do. There's something here where it's like you don't want to say anything to your partner because you're like, you know what, this is, no matter what I say, this is going to cause an argument or it's going to be a problem. And it's like, rather than get into it, I'd rather just not say anything. My advice to you is, it won't stay hidden long. So your best bet is just to fess up and be done with it. And then finally, you have the Queen of Swords for your money and materials. So look, this is a fight card. The Five of Wands can potentially be a conflict card. That's in your communications. And then you've got the Seven of Swords here. When it comes to money, finances, and resources, for those of you that are newly in relationships or thinking of dating somebody, this is not the week to mix your finances, okay? You really, really don't want to cross that line because it's, I touch wood, I hope I'm wrong, it's likely to end in tears. For those of you that are partnered, if there's something you're planning to do with a chunk of money that you're planning to hide or sort of hold back from a partner, I would be mindful because the chances are it's going to be discovered at a later date. It's just not worth it. Find a way to navigate this now, have the hard conversation and let it be done rather than it festers and it becomes something that it doesn't need to be. Also, because this falls next to the Hierophant card, I wonder if this is a financial issue or challenge or dispute that comes up with a larger company, a governing body, maybe a corporation of some sort. There might be a dispute that you raise for an item that you've bought or a place that you live, potentially for some of you. And this is you kind of saying, look, you know what? There's this thing going on with the house that, it needs to be repaired. I'm not willing to pay for it, or whatever the case might be. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be, Yeah, because look, you've got the Empress here as well. I would say look after your kidneys this week. I'm not a doctor, can't give you medical advice, but there's a lot of energy that seems to be speaking to this at the moment. So I would say really look after that, because it looks like a lot of you are potentially under some undue stress. Finally, when it comes to your home and environment, as I say, there's something here that you are not really here for when it comes to the home situation, and I feel like you're going to call it out this week. It may potentially be somewhat explosive, so just be careful. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Wishing you all the best. Take care, and I'll see you soon.